biggest surprise for me when I joined Google, now Alphabet, besides the dress code, continues to be how very early stage we are in so many areas. And we do believe we're on an extraordinary journey where we continue to embrace what Larry's called a healthy disregard for the impossible. And that ethos very much reflects the way I was actually brought up with parents who taught me the importance of intellectual curiosity and persistence, and the notion of daring to dream big. And one thing that I often think about is, where will Google be in 10 years? And it's actually not just a rhetorical question. It's actually a question that my dad, who's now 94, asked as he sat in the crowd in Mountain View at one of our wonderful traditions, Bring Your Parents to Work Day. Most people do bring your kids, but we, of course, do bring your parents. And as he was there, he was looking at all the demos and the presenters, and he looked around and asked that question, where will we be in 10 years? And it wasn't relevant just because it came from my dad, but because he's a physicist who followed his dream and then spent the majority of his career at the Stanford Linear Accelerator Center, the team that built the instrumentation for the first atom smasher. And he was a visionary in his area, and for me that was most remarkable because he never actually graduated from high school or college. He was a refugee. We've heard so many moving stories yesterday about refugees. He too was a refugee from the war. He enlisted in the British Army, and he taught himself physics while fighting because he concluded that education would be his passport to freedom once the war ended. And while fighting in the north of Africa in the Battle of El Alamein, his fellow soldiers would tease him that he would die before he ever got to benefit from that education. And his answer, as we were always told when I was growing up, is he preferred to die an educated man. And his vision was right, because that bunker education eventually led him to a PhD in physics, a passport to the United States, the opportunity to join Stanford. And having spent the bulk of his career in Silicon Valley, he has seen generations of technology companies. So it really struck me when he asked that question, a man who has lived more change than most, where will we be and what will we have achieved? And even today, we remain mindful of our founders' goal at the time of the IPO, which was to develop services that significantly improve the lives of as many people as possible. And that very simple yet powerful objective, plus their spirit of curiosity and scrappiness and creativity, has motivated us for more than the 18 years of this company's existence, when they were Stanford students and used off-the-shelf hardware and a Lego server track to string together what eventually became Google.